Line of your reel, to the rods, to the anglers, to the lures on the end of your hook. Let's talk about those big bass here on Co-Angler's Corner with your host, Rob Welch and John Stoudinger.
Hey, y'all are. Hey, Cajun Rob here with you. I got one of my good friends and a guy I've known since probably was talking about it earlier, 2018. We met at the Bassmaster Classic and was working for Vector Hooks at the time and had a good time and said he has his own business. I mean, I don't know where he fits all the time into. He got a good family, great dad. Said a family man, goes fishing. So a man of many trades and many talents. Jeremy Maye. How's it going, Mr. Maye?
Doing well, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great here in Kentucky. And Mr. Maye's from over Virginia area. I know he's done Bass Opens. I know you're doing the smaller boat series over your live, which that's big around here. That's getting really hot around here as well.
Yeah, and I also fish the Virginia Elite 70s. It's like one of the top tournament trails on the East Coast.
Yeah, there's some big names in that. I know there's some big names in that for sure.
Yeah, we have Jacob Prosnick.
Yep.
Woo Daves. I don't know if any of the guys know who Woo Daves is.
Oh, yeah.
He still fishes, man. He's still out there gun-ho from start to finish, so...
Oh yeah, I ran to him in the Classic. I think year 4 last, and man, he's looks the same. He's the same. He never changes.
Yeah, got a dip in the mouth, and or a red man or whatever he's chewing nowadays. But yeah,
great guy. But
yeah, I fish all the time, man. I enjoy it. I got a passion for it. I'm a severe hobbyist, I guess. I'm a tweaker too. As far as like I like to tweak and modify baits and get things running perfect, like how my style of fishing or whatever. So, yeah, it's just what I do. So,
I still got your buzz baits. I'm still using your buzz baits, man. Those things are really good. I like them.
Oh yeah, yep, definitely. I like the tweak.
Oh yeah, it's perfect on that long throw and braid. Mm-hmm. Can't beat it, man. Can't beat it.
Yeah, I just have to work on the bait keepers a little bit, like the so I don't have to use so much super glue. But other than that, I think it's pretty good. Oh
yeah, it is awesome, man. I can swear to that. But anyway, if you want to just kind of tell the folks how you started in fishing, we'll always kind of start off how you got interested in fishing, how you started, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, man. I got started probably I was about 2 or 3 years old. My grandparents lived in Lake Pierce.
Yep.
Down in Florida. And I used to go down there fishing all the time off their dock. And my father's in the Marine Corps, so it was hard for me to, pretty much set any roots in a certain location. But that's where I got started fishing at. And so we would travel around the country with my dad, and I would have my tackle box, my rods, and regardless of where I was at, down in Louisiana, down in Cherry Point, North Carolina, Okinawa, Japan, Honolulu, Hawaii. I mean, I was always fishing. If you couldn't find Jeremy, go look near the nearest body of water, and that's where I was at.
That sounded like me growing up.
Yep. And, once it started getting darker, the street lights come on, I knew I had to be, pretty much walking down the street or be in the house. But other than that, my parents knew where I was at 9 times out of 10.
Oh, absolutely.
So, then I guess I got on my own pretty much. I started diving into, the tournament trails, the local, like the BFLs, some local stuff, and just really started dialing in everything, trying to upgrade my gear, when the finances were there. And that's where I'm at today. And I still have a big passion for it. So.
Absolutely. Got a few guys commented in. It just popped up. Alvin with American Angler Outdoors saying good evening, guys. Hey, how's it going, Alvin? Always good to see Alvin. And he says, Jeremy, how are you?
Doing well, sir. Hope you're doing fantastic, my friend.
Alvin's a great guy, for sure.
Oh, yeah. He is.
And our friends from Crush It Jail say, hey, what's up, guys? How's it going, Crush? I'm glad that hurricane went a little south and west of you, so I hope you guys are doing well. And one of the friends of the show, Andrew Pulliam, saying, hey, guys. Hey, Andrew. But anyway, I know we're going to talk crankbaits, which I've done a little bit on crankbaits, but I still don't have complete confidence in it. I know one thing. I heard the old guys, using balsa baits versus plastic. I always heard if you're fishing around wood, laydowns always use wood balsa baits. Have you found that being the case, or you kind of how do you determine what to use, balsa or plastic?
Well, to be honest, man, I break down my crankbait fishing um, pretty much based off the seasonal patterns.
Yep.
100%. Water temperature and water clarity are my number two nemesis for pretty much it's a deciding factor. Like, I don't know if you probably can't see behind me, but you probably see I have thousands of crankbaits.
Oh yeah.
I've bought them all. I've tweaked with them all. Certain ones have different actions, certain different vibrations, different wobbles,
Yep.
sink rates, float rates, the all the above. And I guess probably the best thing for me to do with the crankbaits is maybe start, wintertime, maybe jump
Yep.
into a little pre-spawn,
Yeah.
spawn, post-spawn, little summer patterns, things like that. If you guys are okay with
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Go ahead.
All right. So I guess, the wintertime, the water temperature gets really low. I guess, and I'm going to say seasonal related for my area. I live in Eastern Virginia. So we do get the water temperature is probably the coldest it gets here sometimes would probably be sometimes 35 to 38 degrees. It hovers
Right.
around that range. Typical winters. When the water gets that low, I mean that cold, I really result to a balsa bait, hands down.
Yeah.
You want a real tight action. And for example, here's a balsa bait right here. It's a
Yep.
JY Customs balsa bait, and I always have 5 different type of balsa baits or a quiet bait on my deck in the wintertime. I love fishing the crankbait in the wintertime. It is one of my favorite times to throw one. That and the silver buddy.
Oh yeah.
Um, so if they're not biting the silver buddy, then I go to a balsa bait. I like to have 5 different color crankbaits, and then we'll get into the rod to reel line setup too.
Right.
Is typical shad pattern, of course. But if you notice this one here, which is versus a typical um, shad pattern, I'm just gonna throw this one out there. How much wider this one is versus this one?
Yep.
Because in the wintertime, the bait fish lose their sheen, right? They're not as vibrant, but they still have a glow to them. That's why I like to use more of a muted color, shad color, in the wintertime. Another thing I'll dial in too is I'll dial in the red hues,
Yep.
the crawfish colors. This is a Spro Little John 95. This is another balsa bait, and then your DT series, like your DT4, DT6 series. But again,
Absolutely.
common denominator here, it's pretty silent,
Yep.
and
Yep.
really tight action. So
Yep. Now I've got a quick question. Crush It Jail says, what is the best time to use the flat-sided crankbaits? I know usually that's usually cold, kind of winter, early spring.
honestly, man, I've been experimenting with that Ott Defo version this last year and this year, and it's on my deck year round.
Okay.
Because what's happening, it's a silent version, right? So
Yep.
if you're going down a bank in a tournament and somebody's throwing a square bill, for example, that makes a 1.5 and makes noise, another perfect preference is go ahead and pick up that flat side because it's quiet.
Yep.
And it does put off a lot of vibration. The only thing you have to do in that situation is you need to throw it on a faster gear ratio, like a 8-to-1
Right.
or 8-to-7 or 8-to-4 or something along those lines to kind of get that reaction, going. And that is the number one thing that actually gets that reaction, the fish to react versus, just a feeding response. So.
I got you. Now on your crankbaits too, quick question. Do you use a split ring or you do a loop knot or how do you usually, or it just depends on the time of year?
I use the clips.
Yep.
Solely for my balsa baits in the wintertime.
Okay.
Other than that, I throw a Palomar knot to all my crankbaits the rest of the season.
Okay, got you.
So
Keep it simple. Nothing wrong with that.
Simple, man. I don't like to complicate things any more than I have to. I mean, it's already bad enough you have 10 different thousand styles of crankbaits and colorations and this, that, and the other. And I really try to keep it simple. I mean, I have bought boxes and boxes of crankbaits of different tiger patterns and crawl patterns and shad profiles, and I just always go back to the OGs, like the originals, the original shad profiles, original crawfish, and that's what I catch myself throwing now more than anything else. So,
absolutely. Now, over here, I used to live in East Tennessee. It seemed like all the lakes was black and chartreuse year round, spring, summer.
Yep.
fall. Black chartreuse is big.
Oh yeah. So.
But yeah, and like I said, on knots too. I mean, you know how it is in tournaments. It's going to be the worst weather. It's going to be wind blowing, rain. You're trying to tie a knot, you know. So that does make a lot of sense.
It's like I tell people all the time when they come to Virginia for the first time, if you don't like Virginia weather, just wait a minute.
Yeah,
promise you, because you may be in a snowstorm today. Tomorrow, you're gonna be wearing flip flops and sweating your tail off. So it's always a different animal.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Another quick question now: do you upgrade your hooks? I know sometimes you can put a little heavier hook on and get a little different action. You kind of run the same. I know you change them out, but do you upsize or downsize your sizes any?
Well, it's all seasonal related for me, to be honest.
Okay.
As you guys know, I am sponsored by Vector Hooks, and I am loyal to them. However, there is certain crankbaits and jerkbaits out there on the market to this day that are fine tuned for that type of hook. And for example, like the Mega Bass 110 jerkbaits, in the wintertime, there's no hook that's like the hook. Is it a hook Buso hook? I guess the Albarb hook.
Yeah, it's real light wire.
Yeah, very light wire hook. You're a fool to change that hook out in the wintertime, especially if they're very lethargic. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the square bills. Like I just pulled these square bills out of not square, but these little flat side balsa baits. This is my winter box, and they still got these little light wire hooks on there. They're very thin, very light wire. I'm not going to change these hooks out because they're very sticky, and there's no sense of changing them out because you're using a softer rod in the wintertime. You're using a lighter line in the wintertime. Try to maximize your depth. And those fish they're very lethargic. They're not going to really fight. And so if you're using the right gear ratio or the right drag setup, the right rod, you can fight a really big fish on light wire hooks in the wintertime. So
exactly.
That's why I leave those alone. Now, however, when it comes to the pre-spawn, like late pre-spawn or post-spawn, I will change my hooks out.
Yep.
So.
Now, I've got a quick question. Crush It says, what is your take on using red hooks on your crankbaits?
I look at that almost like the back roads in Virginia. All right. Some of the back roads have lines on them. Some of them don't. So I haven't really seen any difference to me. But if it gives you some confidence, go for it. I'm not going to sit there and tell you yes or no, because I'm not really sure. I use them sometimes, but it's all situational, if that makes any sense. I guess it's a player preference. So now if your bait doesn't have any red on it and you're having a shad spawn or something like that, and you're trying to mimic a dying shad or something with the red gills flared out, go for it. You can give it a shot. Anything's possible. Again, it's all player preference.
Absolutely. And good friend Andrew Pulliam says that those tornado trebles has won me some money. Great hook.
Oh yeah,
absolutely, brother. Right on, man.
I got boxes of them.
Yeah, I do too. With the feathers, out not feathers. Yeah, I got some of the OGs and some of the new ones. So I got quite a stock. I got enough to supply crankbait manufacturer with.
Yeah.
But my buddy Andy Slager checking in. Hey Andy, appreciate you turning in.
Yeah, I get bad with the hooks, man. I have a bad habit. I'll take all my any crankbaits that I use throughout the season. I always take the hooks and rotate the hooks out every year.
Yep.
So I'll buy the hooks in bulk, 100 to 200 at a time, and it gives me a peace of mind knowing that my hooks are sharp and I'm not going to miss a fish off, because I was too careless or too lazy to change the hooks out. So
yeah, because you're banging around rocks and stuff. It's going to dull them. No matter what, it's just going to dull them. It says, especially the money's on the line. Hey, be 100% on them. And there's Miss Angie Copus. Say, good evening, Rob and Jeremy. I'm still using Victor hooks. They are strong as all get out. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
So, but yeah, I guess we can dump into, pre-spawn. This is a very strong topic of mine. This is when I do my best, I guess, most of the year. I do throw a lot of square bills for pre-spawn, and I catch myself throwing balsa square bills, along with like a 2.5, like a bigger profile.
Right. Right.
And I like the most brightest color that I can get my hands on for a square bill in the pre-spawn. I don't know what it
Absolutely.
is, but those, um, the 2.5 chartreuse blackback,
Yep.
that right there is pretty much a staple across the country. I mean, I can take
Oh,
that
yeah.
just about anywhere, pretty much based off of water clarity. And I can catch them on pre-spawn on that very well. Same thing with the mega bass, their brim profile. And I know, here's my balsa ones. This is the black label.
Yep.
So
Love the black label stuff, man.
Yep.
Those are spot on.
Yeah, I've got boxes of black label stuff. So, but yeah, the square bills, man. I power fish those with two different type of rods. One is I throw a 7-foot. Here he goes, right here. It's a Crystal Craft. Again, I don't care, whatever rod you throw, but I throw mine on a Crystal Craft. I throw a 7-foot medium heavy.
Yep.
For my square bills.
Now, does it have a moderate action or fast action or kind of?
It's a moderate action pretty much.
Okay.
It's a very versatile rod. So if you're somebody on a budget or whatever, and you can throw jackhammers on it or chatterbaits, square bills. The key about this rod here that I've perfected is it's a 7-foot rod, and I have another one that's a 6'11", and I like that because I'm power fishing around cover, isolated cover, and I'm trying to put very specific spots. And having that shorter rod, I can end a roll cast. I can make multiple casts in a day, and with this Shimano 8-to-1 ratio, and that's on 16 to 17 pound sunline. That's my go-to right there.
Okay. That's your bread and butter right there.
Those are my bread and butter. And what I do when I get on a real good square bill bite, especially on the river systems, like on the Chowan River, the James River, and I know they're so dialed into the bait, I'll switch over to braid. I'll throw a 15-pound braid.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's where you're going to get hung in the tree." No, you're not. That braid right there, man. I tell you, the barnacles and stuff are so bad around those trees, the lay down and stuff. It eats right through that fluorocarbon. I've lost so many fish trying to throw fluorocarbon or monofilament around those barnacles, and the best way is to throw the braid. The braid really helps me, give me another piece of security that I'm gonna, when I get that fish hooked, he's coming in the boat. So
absolutely. Now I know a lot of kayak guys use braid because they're not standing up and they ain't got very much, so they'll use braid a lot on the moving baits, and it works really well for them because they can't set the hook or far back as on the boat. So I know a lot of them guys do the same. So that's a good tip.
Yeah, usually the pre-spawn when they're hitting that square bill, I mean they're choking it. There's not any just snipping out. When they come out of that tree, they're engulfing it, right? So they're trying to build the momentum for the spawn. So that's why it doesn't. I don't think the braid or fluorocarbon or monofilament really does make a difference. I think it's a player preference on that one. So, but for me, I'll have two setups in the boat. I'll have fluorocarbon. 16 or 17 pound sunline, and I'll throw the braid 15 pound. So.
Gotcha, makes sense. All right, another question. Crush It Jail says, "Have you ever experimented with adding scent to your crankbaits?"
No, I have not. I have not at all. I thought about that because I had bought some gel. It's like a pasty stuff that they had. I guess Mike Iaconelli had it or something, and I was gonna give that a shot to put on the baits, but. That was like a squirrel crossing the road kind of thought, 3-second time span.
Yeah, now I've used a little Q-tip and used some of the dipping dye and, put a little yellow inside my crankbaits. Almost like a sexy shad, some odor baits. I've tried that, but that's the only thing I've done.
Now I can see the scent being useful if the water's really clear and the fish are following the bait from a distance. You know what I'm saying? Where they have to, they're using all their senses, their lateral lines, their sight, and their senses or the smell. But when you're trying to get that core reaction bite bumping into cover, I don't really think they think about the scent. You know what I'm saying? I think more based off vibration and visibility at that time frame. But again, it's a player preference. But I've never tried it. No, to answer your question. And let me know if something does work, if it does make a difference, or you guys heard any stories or anything. I'd be glad to entertain it for sure.
Yeah. Now I know that new A rig that got out that was it Crush A-Rig or whatever that new A-Rig is. It's all fluorocarbon. It's got the head has got little holes in it for scent, putting scent in that. So, and that's a hot selling little A-Rig right now. It's hard to get, but I thought that's pretty interesting touch on those. But everything I heard is supposed to be pretty good.
Nice. Good deal.
Well, sure. But yeah, I said I love using square bills early in the year. I got some little homemade from Webaits. Guy in Cincinnati made them for a long time. He passed away a year or two ago, and they're getting hard to get. But there's one that's got like a yellow top and a real shad silver, and it's maybe an inch long. But man, for smallmouth, they tear it up. Money's on the line.
Yeah,
I've had a boater where he's throwing A-Rig all day and he won the tournament. He had like 18 pounds on Cherokee, and only thing I could get bit behind him was that little bitty Webaits crankbait, and and it got me a check, so it worked.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
Yep, definitely.
The square bills, man. I have a 1-2 punch with those. I have my square bills and I got my flat A's.
Yep.
I don't know if anybody knows it. People.
Oh yeah, I got a box of them, man.
Guys knows what the flat A's
are.
Are. If you're not sure what the flat A's are, this is the staple right here. They discontinued these colors a while back, but they got a really small bill to them. They're almost like a flat side, but they have a little rattle in them too. So when the water does get a little bit more dingier, I will pick up a flat A, especially if I'm fishing behind somebody.
Absolutely, that's one of those old school baits that still catches them everywhere and anywhere. I got a box of them.
Yeah, these are my go-tos right here. The chrome one and the black and blue, right there. So, and Bagley's got a pretty good one too, man. I've been playing around with for a few years. I really like it. It's almost like the flat side. It's a flat side.
Oh, cool. Yep.
Yeah. So, but it's got more of a square bill to it, like a pretty much a square bill, but it's a little bit longer. It actually goes a little bit deeper.
Now I like the red throat on that. That's kind of an old school touch on that. I like it.
Oh yeah. So,
but going into the spawn, do you kind of get away from crankbaits while the spawn's going on and pick it back up when it hits post spawn?
Yeah, I don't really touch much of it during the spawn.
Yep.
I pretty much go to the traditional, flipping style bait, or something along those lines, or spinner bait, whatever for the spawn. But then after the spawn happens and they go through that funk, right? They'll go through a transition of just doing nothing because I guess they're trying to recover. I guess that's when the post spawn kicks into play. And to me, this is probably one of my favorite times of the year where I can power fish a crankbait in pretty much all depths of the water column. If there no thermocline has been established yet, that's where I can break out the 3XDs, 4XDs, 5XDs, 6XDs, even break out the big boy, the 10XD.
Oh yeah.
So those are I'm a big crankbait guy. I love if I get on one of these big impoundments like Car Lake, Bugs Island, Lake Gaston, and the thermocline is deep, or if there's not one been generated yet at all, I'm breaking out a big crankbait and I'm slashing the bottom. So
I know some sticks around Knoxville around East Tennessee. They'll have their whole deck just crankbaits, and they'll have 8 pound, 10 pound, 12 pound, same crankbait, and they'll throw it out there and get it right at the right depth, and then start hitting them. So, Crush It Jail just chimed in and says when they are eating schooling shad, the shad scent we make works really well on crankbaits.
Okay.
I got some of that. I got some of that scent. I'm gonna give that a try.
Yeah, man. I'll definitely I'll entertain it for sure.
Definitely.
So. I just came back from the Potomac. I got a tournament this weekend, a big tournament coming up. The last one for the points, and I was looking at all my crankbait rods. And I was like, damn, I had 6 different crankbaits tied on, and I'm looking at all the reels, and I was like, well, damn, I forgot to change out a couple of my line on there. I had like 4 pound test or 5 pound test on there when I was doing some finesse fishing.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm glad I didn't catch anything on that because I was really crank. I was zinging that bad boy, trying to hit those shell beds, but.
But at line though, you can do a longer cast. So I know them Japanese guys, they're using like 5-6 pound braid. I mean, some insane pound test stuff. But
this crankbait right here, I call him Lucky. It's a 3XD, and I I done beat the crap out of it this weekend. He's got one eye to him, but I don't know what's about this crankbait right here. I wish they all of them would
Yep.
run true as like that one does. But I mean, I've caught a lot. I caught a lot of fish on that one this weekend. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've heard Gerald Swindle and them say, what crankbait to throw. He says, well, which one ever has the most teeth marks? I'm like,
That's right. Yep.
Makes sense.
Yep. 100%. I agree.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen some pros have an old beat up crankbait, half the paint's gone, and they're still throwing it, catching. I mean, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I even throw them with the bill cracked on them, and I'll take out the super glue and glue the bill back on and full send it right back to where it came from. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now I said post spawn. I know they kind of murk. They go back out. You kind of catch them in the creeks and coves when they're going back out, especially on the points and all. And that makes for awesome days.
Oh yeah, but I mean, one thing about this forward-facing sonar deal, and I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole very long, I promise you. But
yeah,
I hadn't really noticed in the past year or so, maybe 2 years, that crankbait, nobody's throwing crankbaits anymore. Like I'm like, you look at the shelves, you go in all like tackle warehouse and loaded everything. They have full inventory of every crankbait possible. I'm like, mother load, hello.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
I'm a realization one day that these things are pretty good. And so that's why, I mean, I throw it a lot more. And I catch myself throwing it a lot more on forward-facing sonar. Just trying to, because what I can do, I can learn a lot about how the fish are reacting to baits real quick off a crankbait. That's my search tool. You know what I mean? Some people use little shaking method and little grubs or whatever to kind of catch them. But I mean, I can catch them just as good on a crankbait, but you have to maybe do some modifications or to it. Maybe adding some lead strips so it's a spin, so it's not very buoyant. Double up your O-rings on the hooks. Maybe add a bigger hook in the backside of the crankbait, so it's more of a parallel versus actually, it's not nose diving too much. It's more of so.
And always you can put a suspend dot, somewhere on top or wherever in the middle. But funny you say that. I work for a major tackle distributor, and we've noticed there's a big downward trend on the crankbaits, but all the colors in stock now, like hard to find colors, easy to find now. So it's kind of so you got kind of a silver lining there, as they say. But I'm like you, man. I still got a ton of them. I still throw them pretty good bit.
And I'm actually it's with this forward-facing sonar deal coming out. It's actually given me the opportunity to see how aggressive these square bills are. How the fish are reacting to them from one variety to another. And that really has narrowed down my selection for crankbaits, because I'll have 5 or 6 crankbaits on the deck, and I'll pick up all 5 of them if I see a fish sitting on a stump or near a stump or something, maybe suspending above the stump. I'll throw every one of these crankbaits out there, and I'll figure out, and one of those 5, he's going to eat it. Something's different about that one for that mood of the fish. So it might be just a rare circumstance, but it does teach me a lot.
Oh yeah, because you see them follow it. Like sometimes they'll follow it, and you'll change color, like you said, or action, and next cast, boop, they're on it. So I mean, it's amazing tool. It's amazing how many fish was out deep, just suspended on nothing, just in the middle of nowhere, just sitting there now.
Yeah,
we didn't never know.
This, I don't know, probably about 2 months ago, I was fishing on Car Lake, and I saw a small fish like suspending off the bottom, probably about 3 feet. And I was like, all right, they were about 3 feet off the bottom, about 18 feet of water. And I made a couple casts in there, and I was dredging the bottom. I'd see the bait just popping off the bottom. And those fish were not entertained it whatsoever. So I threw another one, a small, the one that went down about 12 feet. And when it went above them, they didn't want nothing above it either. But the fish that were sitting on the bottom, I could not see. They come up like tuna and just blow it up. Yeah, it was pretty crazy for a full day of that. Like that's what I was looking for. I was looking for a couple of fish suspending off the top. Suspending off the bottom. And then if I saw that, it was just a weird pattern. There was always fish that were sitting on the bottom. I guess they were ambushing through the fish, which makes no sense. But that's how they were hunting that day. So.
Yeah, you'll especially see smallmouth do that. You see smallmouth do that a whole lot.
And spotback.
Yeah, I had a tournament on, I think it's Dale Hollow, and my boater was scoping, I think, with a minnow and a jerk bait. Well, I happened to pick up a scrounger head. I had a scrounger head with a minnow on it. And it's funny, threw it out and had one hit it, and I lost it. But he says, man, I saw that fish the whole time come straight up at your bait. So something about that scrounger head. Yeah. He come from like 30 foot down and come straight up, like you said, just straight up like Jaws or something.
Yeah. That's I know you're like, oh, hang on. There you go.
Yeah, that's what he said. He says, man, I don't want to say nothing. I don't want you, slow down or speed up. So I seen it coming, but I don't want to say nothing. So he's a cool dude. He's a cool dude. So, but now as you transition to the summer, I know usually, ledge, it's famous for ledge fishing, brush piles. Kind of talk about your transition, cranking, late spring, early summer, kind of that transition.
I guess it's all based off the thermocline to me. That's what I look for that time of the year. That pretty much dictates how deep I'm going to go with the crankbait, where it's at. Some river systems or tidal fisheries, we don't really have to worry about that much. Yep. But when I travel to some of these lakes, these impoundments, the man-made impoundments or whatever, that's one of the number one things I look for when I go. I put the trolling motor down, or even I'm on my side scan or whatever. If I see that thermocline, that pretty much dictates where I'm fishing at with the crankbait. That usually that thermocline kicks in sometime around after post spawn, right around that time frame, usually May, June, depending on the water temperature, how much rain we've had, and things like that. But we haven't had much rain this year, so the thermocline is really high in the water column right now. Yep. I think it's like 8 feet below the surface. So. Yep.
Yeah, great point, because I had a old team partner. We got a little local lake called Harrington, and it's deep rocky. There's not really much structure, and they will suspend on the thermocline. You can see it on and you have to have a crankbait that goes right above it. I mean, just right. But as soon as you hit that level, it's like you put the puzzle together.
Yeah, my rule of thumb for the thermocline is I try to stay about 2 feet above it.
Yep.
So if I know it's at 10 feet, I want to try to stay in that 8 foot zone, because they're looking up. So, trying to feed, because they do know that, the fish know they live, that's their environment, right? So then they know that, they're not going to be seeing the bait fish down there below them swimming around.
Yeah. Yeah, we're right. Yeah, their eyes are always kind of up, I know, but yeah, it makes sense. Crush It Jail says, love to send you some to try. There you go, Jeremy.
Yes, sir.
And Crush It is from your former home, one of your home states, Louisiana. Great folks. So
nice.
I have to get y'all hooked up, trade you info. But I got some, and it's really impressive stuff. It's like a little tube, and it sticks real well. It's a gel. It's got a little sparkle in it, but awesome stuff, man. Great folks. But
nice.
So middle summer, I know, right now it's kind of hot, 90s. It's so kind of early. They kind of feed up and then kind of go deep. What's kind of dog days of summer? What's your usual plan of action on that?
Normally, like right now, it's been hot. It's been 100 105, heat index, and the water temperature's in the 90s right now, which it's 88 to 90 in some areas, and especially on the Potomac where I've been at. And I've noticed that it's all been a core reaction bite. It hasn't been much of the fish are very, they're very sluggish. You can see them on the graph just moping around. And so I've been trying to pick up something with a very obnoxious amount of vibration and a very bright color. That's been my ticket. Bright color, vibration. So I'll be changing between in the morning time. I feather a square bill over top of some of the hydrilla that's there, trying to get some active feeding fish. And then once the sun really does come up, and those offshore fish, as I call them, that's when I'll pick up a bladed jig, or maybe a flat A that goes down, to probably 6 to 8 feet. But they don't seem to want that, because it's not really thumping. It's not really putting off a really lot of vibration. So that's why I'll pick up the jackhammer in lieu of any other crankbait. So it's just getting that core response out of them. So But it's like it's very traditional, man. It's very very situational. I guess when this time of year is very finicky. When something's wrong with the fish, we're not hitting a drop shot. They're not hitting a Ned rig, and you have to force them to eat it. So.
Yeah, but when you do find one, usually there's a group of them. When you do get a bite, there's usually some right in that area. So it's usually, it's like you said, feast or famine. You won't find no bites. Also, you get bit and just bite. And then, it's that way. That's just summer way.
And I get once you get like I said, once you get them fired up, it's usually it can be repetitive cast. You can catch a limit real quick in a hurry.
Oh, absolutely. And I tell a lot of young guys, I said, man, if you catch one in summer, do that exact same cast because there may be 2 or 3 of his buddies right there. I mean, exact same cast, cadence, everything. And sometimes get 2, 3, 4 bites, same cast, same area. So,
and if they start swiping at it, you'll see this. Like if you catch that first fish in the school, right, and they'll just come up swiping at it, and they're changing their mind.
Yep.
Or if you like foul hook them in the side of the back of the head or something, it means that they're changing gears. They seen the bait and they like, no, that's not real. If that ever happens, pick up a wacky rig. Most people throw a wacky rig these days, right? So just pick one up real quick and just throw it right up in there, and 10 out of 10 times you'll catch more fish in that school.
Absolutely. Good point. Just
a 1-2 punch, man. That seems to be a good theory of mine. It works out. So.
Oh yeah, that's a great follow-up bait, man, for sure. And then Crush It says Sunday water temperature was 94. We fished in 3 to 5 foot of water. It's 1 p.m. and fish were still aggressive. We caught a bunch. Man, y'all ballers over there, man.
Yeah.
But that's tough over there.
But those fish are used to it.
Yeah. Hey, and it's funny, and like you said, I think one of my best fish in the BFL was like cold 39 to 40, spitting snow, and I caught them up on jig like super shallow. I mean, super shallow, and I got a big bass at the event and finished 5th. So, they do some they don't see. My partner used to say they don't read the same Bassmaster magazine as we do. I think that's true. That's true.
Those fish don't read the no trespassing signs. So
no wake. No, they don't. They ain't worried about all that. Now, as you go, kind of summer to fall transition, when they start kind of doing their feed thing, they know winter's coming. Yep. What's your kind of strategy for going summer to fall transition there?
And well, again, it all based off of what water impoundment or wherever I'm fishing. So I'm just going to use the James River for example.
Yep.
They actually start, the shad really start pushing way back in these little fingerings, the creeks, creek channels off the main river and the Chickahominy or whatever. So I'll throw a little square bill, I'll throw 2 different sizes, or actually 2 different sizes, 3 different colors. I throw this one right here a lot. This is my little tiger one. It's a very small one, but it's got a decent sized bill on it.
Yep.
Little bumblebee. This one here is the same one. It's a little Poe. But again, this is only 1.5 inches. And then I'll throw this one right here.
Oh, yeah. I like that one.
And then if they don't want the small ones, the small offerings, then I go to the 2.5. Square bill, the big one. The silent version. I like to throw a silent one too.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But
and then
that's pretty much it, man. I'll just rotate through those baits. So. Yeah.
I say I'm like you, spring and fall. That's my 2 favorite times to go because it seems like they're feeding up. Spring they're feeding up to go spawn. Fall they're feeding up for the winter. So that's. Would you say that's the 2 prime times? If you had any time during the year, if you had your choice to go crankbaiting, would you say spring and fall is your 2 favorite?
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, I would too.
So I think there's one thing I've learned over the time of fishing a crankbait is they've always taught. The rule of thumb, I guess, is in the fall time you always want to go to a bigger profile crankbait because the shad had time to mature over the winter. I mean, over the summer or whatever to get to a larger. So there's a larger scale of bait fish. But I've noticed here lately, I guess the fishing pressure has gotten so bad that my catch ratio, I'm not catching numbers. You know what I'm saying? Right. With the bigger square bills. So that's why I showed you guys the smaller ones because nobody's throwing them, and I catch them, 8, 9, 10 pounders, no problem. So they seem to be more dialed in that smaller one because I don't know if they're getting beat up from the summertime and they're aware of the noise or the crankbaits. They identify them. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I just think they're going. I think downsizing in the fall really makes a big difference for me, especially how I fish. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. And Crush It Jails kind of agree with you. He says that's what we caught them on, a 1.0 Strike King KVD Sexy Shad, also a Crusher Lure swim bait. Absolutely good combo there.
Oh yeah.
But I noticed that on spinner baits too. Seems like the smaller willows get more bites in the fall. You used to, you wanted the big blades, but it seems like I've done better on kind of smaller blades here last fall or two.
Yeah, well, I've in the fall time. I know this is not spinner bait related, but I'm just gonna throw this in there real quick. I'll go through like a 2.5 or a 3, just a single willow blade on my spinner bait, 1/2 ounce, 3/4 ounce. So
there you go. Yeah, I got some of the old, I think Ledge Buster spinner baits, ounce and a half.
Oh, yeah,
and they got the big single, and I still throw them out in the summer because nobody's throwing them. I mean, you want to give them something different.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep. Same thing like the pulsator. The big pulsator.
Yep.
1 ounce. Those are been my favorite. I've been throwing those here, so I could look forward to throwing those this weekend.
Exactly. And I know you're like me. I love the shad wraps in early spring, early winter, or late winter, early spring. And like I said, I know you talked about one time like taking the newer ones and kind of roughing them up, kind of dulling them out. Yep, I got a box just like that. I got some old ones. I got some new ones. But yeah, I said that old crawfish also, color.
I wanted to talk about this when I was talking about the wintertime. And I overlooked it because my rod was in the way, and I overlooked the bait because I set the baits out so I didn't miss anything. Yep. But I'm glad you brought that shad wrap up because I love a shad wrap too now. Yep. These are all my shad wraps right here. This is only one of the boxes, and I've got all different. I got some of the old school ones that they don't even. Yeah,
the old ones made in like Finland and Ireland. Yeah, I got those. Those some gems there, man.
Yeah, like these right here. They don't make these anymore at all, and the number 7s, the number 9s. So I even throw a lot of these bigger ones here. I got the larger, these ones.
Yep.
So I love these right here. So, but yeah, the shad wraps, it's a staple of mine. And while we're on this topic of shad wraps, if I can ever get the hooks out, I took the hooks off. On these ones here, I always like to add a belly weight to them. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yep.
So I always put a belly weight on my shad wrap because normally in the wintertime it's either cold, windy, something like that, and I throw it on a spinning rod. And when adding that lead strip to it, it really you can bomb it out there and it helps suspend it in the water column so it doesn't float up. So size 5 is my favorite, and you about to have to throw it on spinner bait. It's so light, it's like a tater chip. But man, I've caught fish after fish on that. Like I said, I'm like you. Simple patterns, that old orange crawfish and the shad. Oh, yeah.
Got them too. That's all you need.
Yep, that's right. But I love a shad wrap, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I really do. I'll throw it on some 6-pound test on a spinning rod, and I'll put that. If they get off the jerkbait bite for a few minutes for a few days, I'll pick up that shad wrap and normally can catch them. So.
Oh, absolutely. And I said if you got somebody near a creek, that's a great creek bait year round. Sure. It'll catch them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my son, he loves to throw it, man. He's like, hey, man. We were out fishing this weekend. He's like, give me a shad wrap. I'm going to rip it through that grass. And I was like, oh, hey, you want to try it? Here you go. I tie it on for you.
Yeah. So,
and then he cut it off because it kept hung in the grass. He don't listen to anybody. But, you got to learn somehow, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, at that age, they know everything, but know nothing. So, right. I know. I got a 14-year-old, so I know all about that.
Yes, sir.
But that's, I love the old school baits like the shad wraps, stuff like that, man. They've been around for seemed like 100 years since we was in high school. Tells you how long that's been.
I'll tell y'all. So I got a little gem right here for you guys, for you crankbait junkies.
Oh, here comes the juice. Here comes the juice.
I got some juice, man. They don't make these anymore. If anybody knows what this crankbait is right here, that's the pose.
Yep. Oh yeah, pose. Yep.
That's the old juice right there.
So, yeah.
Well, they're actually wooden, but they're balsa.
Yep.
So see that right there? That was one of the original ones. So
David Fritz engineered right there.
Yes, sir. And there's old color pattern. I don't even know where that.
Oh, hey, that's like an old bullfrog pattern or something.
Yep. So and then my favorite one. I don't know if you guys remember the Normans.
Oh yeah.
If I can get it out, they've been in this dang box so long. Certain crankbaits, I just don't even throw anymore because they're, just a classic in my books.
Yeah.
The old Normans with the old
Oh
sparkly
yeah.
colors. See
Yep.
that? So with the orange bellies, little green tops.
Oh, I love that color. That's one of my favorites right there.
Yes, sir. I got boxes of them. So I just these ones right here in my own little personal collection. So, but yeah, man, they're good baits. Like this one right here, I had to retire this one. So I don't know if you can see that or not. Little red belly,
Yep.
kind of blue
Yep.
top, purple top. So.
Yep. Yeah. Crush It says, yep, caught a bunch on a little Norman. Yeah. I got some little Normans, and they don't come out unless the money's on the line. Let's put it that way.
That's right. That's for sure.
And if I got it hung up, I'll probably go in and swim after it, probably.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, I've done it before, man. I've done it. I had some custom painted, some custom painted square bills, actually flat sides, and they got hung up on a log, man. I went down there and got it. I mean, no, sir, you ain't getting that thing. I paid $50 for that damn thing. You're not getting. Excuse my language, but you're not getting.
Oh yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Oh man.
But while we're on crankbaits, man, real quick, just something that I do for the season related. It really helps me as a tournament fisherman, and I kind of like to categorize my baits by water temperature or by the season, right? So
Right.
this one right here, this is my my reds, like pretty much
Yep.
all my red profile baits right here.
Oh, there you
And
go. Yep.
I only throw most of my reds, in the early pre-spawn.
Yep.
So you have your translucent ones, your bright oranges. When the water clarity gets different, the old original 3XDs and the Gracious Almighty. Anyhow, I got a hot mess over here. But anyhow, it's like the old tiger pattern. I can't see that orange.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So, but yeah, I kind of like to categorize all my baits and put them all together. And then when I'm, based off where I'm going to fish at, I can pull them out of this box right here and put them in a little small one of those little small plano boxes like this one right
Yep.
here.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I can go
Oh,
ahead
yeah.
and just fill this one for the day. So I know that I don't have to go rummaging through all these compartments looking for a certain type of bait. So.
Oh, yeah. Now I know early spring too, Kentucky and Tennessee, that DT6 and that Ike Demon color.
Oh, the
That
demon
color. Oh yeah, that's always red hot here in early spring. Seems like.
That and the Spro Little John. I guess that's the
Yep.
firecracker or something that is.
Yep.
That's my that's really good around here. This one right here.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So, and sometimes they'll get off the orange belly and go to the black belly. I don't know what makes the difference, but yeah.
Huh.
So, and then the solid black one in the wintertime is a staple around here too. But that's a James River secret.
Yeah, I heard it's good around Arkansas too. I know a couple guys has won a lot of money on that. And like in Arkansas, the crawfish over there get real black certain part of the season. So.
Yep. So, but anyhow, yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I just, like I said, I try to be as organized as possible with them.
Yep.
I do replace my O-rings. I replace my hooks as often as possible. Again, based off the weather conditions or the seasonal patterns or whatever.
Yep.
So.
And Crush It Jail says, "Gotta go, but really enjoyed the podcast." Hey, Crush It. Hey, you got a great product. I got some of your stuff, but I'll get in touch with you and hit you up. But I got about 3 or 4 tubes of your stuff, and said you got some awesome stuff, brother. So keep up the good work. And I know small business is tough, but keep on going, man. Love your stuff, brother. But yeah, I mean, I'm like you, man. I like the old school baits. I got some that I got but never fished, and I can't get rid of. So
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm a hoarder. I'm a hoarder for sure.
Yeah, that's part of being a fisherman, I think. So.
Yeah. But however, I actually have some teenagers that actually work with me this summer, and they love to fish, and they're fishing every Tuesday nighters, every Wednesday nighters.
Oh, cool.
Weekends. So they'll come over to the house here, and I'll send them away little care packages, stuff that I haven't really touched in a couple years that I'm not gonna use, and they love that, man. They'll come in here like searching through all my stuff, looking through all my boxes. I'm like, y'all, there's one rule: stay off that shelf behind you. Okay.
Yeah, that's the keep away shelf. Yeah.
Yeah, the stuff that's hanging up, you're welcome to look at it, touch it, smell it, but you need to put it back after you're done, unless I say you can have it. So.
Yeah, there's a kid next door mows the lady's yard, and every time I see him, I throw him a pack of trick worms or something, and that just makes his day. You know, I was like, "Hey, man, you're out there mowing yards. I know it's hard work. I used to do it, so here you go." You know, so I got more worms I'll ever use anyway. So
Yeah, I gave actually 2 weeks ago. I gave him a big one of those big old Rubbermaid totes. I don't know,
Yep.
probably 2 foot, whatever. And I just got tired of dealing with all these plastics because traveling around the country, you buy plastics here, plastics there.
Yep.
By the end, you know it, you got shit everywhere. So I just went around and just started throwing stuff in this big Rubbermaid. And I gave it to him. He's like, "What is this?" And he opened it up. He's like, "Oh." So he got home and he threw it all over his couch. And he's like, telling his mom and dad what he got and stuff, and his mom messaged like, "Why'd you let him have all that crap? Now I gotta find a place to put it." Sorry, Mom.
That reminds me that time I used to go take a canoe by my house in Mississippi and go float down and catch bluegill and crappie on crickets, and so I got one of the cricket tubes, and I think I got them the evening before. I said I'm gonna have them ready to go in the morning. Well, I put them in my closet. A bunch of them got away and made crickets in the house for months. I thought Mom's gonna kill me. She was no happy with me for a while. So, but I tell her, I said, "Hey, look, Mom, I'm working in the fishing industry, so it paid off in the end, right?"
Right. Yep.
So, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great crankbaits out there. I mean, I said Rapala's still making their stuff, and they're just top notch. I mean, I know if real quick, if people like crankbaits, the homemade stuff. Mm-hmm. There's a show in East Tennessee in Knoxville called East Tennessee Fishing Show, usually in January, and there's tons of local guys making them, and they'll bring them and sell them there. Yeah. So if you get a chance and you're a crankbait fan, go to that show in Knoxville. It's called East Tennessee Fishing Expo. So go check it out if you got a chance.
Oh yeah. So again, I appreciate y'all having me on, man. I really do. And like I said, I do have a passion for crankbaits, and like I said, I don't know everything about them. But I still learn every day. Like every time I'm on the water, I figure something different out about a different crankbait, and I just love learning about it. So,
absolutely.
So,
I'm like you, and then like less and less people's throwing it, and that's like I'm like you. That makes more sense to throw it because nobody else is throwing it.
Yeah, and it's actually a good deal for a co-angler, especially on somebody who's throwing a forward-facing sonar minnow.
Yep.
In a co-angler, it's probably a good idea for him to actually start throwing a crankbait, because he's not seeing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
gives a little different action. Usually when I fish somebody out, if they fish in top water, I'll fish mid. So I'll kind of fish a different level, something different. And I don't think I've ever had a thing where if he's throwing a certain bait, if he's flipping, you're not going to get a flipping fish behind the guy. Most guys anyway. So yeah, but you got to do something different. But great point. Or fishing, if you're in a boat and you got a community hole and you're fishing behind somebody. Mm-hmm. Great time to pull one out of the box.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go down Randy Blockett's lane a little bit. So if you have somebody who's parallel on the bank, and you think you don't have anything to fish, pick up a different style crankbait, and make sure it's a high floater or some quiet one, and fish the opposite direction. Go, bring it towards you, and 9 times out of 10, when I was a co-angler, I did that, and I caught a lot of fish doing it. So
absolutely. Or what I'll do, I'll drop a drop shot or Carolina rig behind the boat and just drag it.
Yep.
And sometimes I did the drop shot thing once, and I started catching more fish in the boat. Or finally, he turned around and says, "Okay, what are you doing back there?"
Yeah,
and told him, he's like, "I don't have drop shot. You show me." I was like, "Dude, I'll take you 2 minutes. I'll show you how to do it." So I showed him. He started catching some, and I'll see him at tournaments, BFLs once in a while, and he'll laugh and say, "Yeah, I'm throwing you drop shot still." So
nice,
but can't beat it. But I know usually at the end of the show we kind of let our guests kind of go over their sponsors and thank who they want, and so we'll kind of give you a floor there for a few. Jeremy, if you want to kind of talk about your sponsors and your people you want to thank and different causes you support. So floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, man. First and foremost, I want to thank you guys for hosting this thing. I've been watching you guys for a little bit now, and I'm glad it's starting to take off for you and get it in the direction where you want it to be. And it's very comical when you and John get on there. It's like 2 peas in a pot.
Well, it's even funnier. We've been best friends for years now. We've never met in person. So, and he's from like far north as you can get, and I was born far south as you get. But we're great friends, and great guy.
Oh yeah. And I just wanted to, thank Vector Hooks. Been with them since day one, since they broke ground.
Yep.
Kisselcraft custom rods. I use all their line of series. Been with them for a long time. I think I got John on them as well.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. And my family, my friends, and everybody who tuned in. And again, if anybody has any questions, and if you guys are in Southeast Virginia, want to go do some crankbait fishing, or just do some fishing in general, hit me up. We got some of the prawn fishing in this little area right here, and I'll take you out on a boat for a day or two. What if you're in the military or whatever, you're traveling for work, hey, PM me, man. I'll be glad to take you out on the water for a little while. So
yeah.
Funny
you say that. I may be up your way this fall, so if I do, I'm gonna hit you up, brother.
Come on, man.
Wherever the boss wants you to go, I'm gonna go. So we'll see what happens.
Well, we got plenty of bait. We got some good bait and tackle shops around here. So we got some real big ones. Ocean's East. I don't know if you heard of them or not.
Yep.
Yeah, we got 3 of them right here in my backyard.
Sweet.
So Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's, we got 2 or 3 of them.
Yep.
So Green Top. Are you in Green Top yet?
Yeah. I think that sounds for me. I think one of every guys that got them, but yeah, we got most of the major ones. So we're pretty world or nationwide. We even got some. I know Mexico, Quebec. I think we got one in Spain and Portugal. So pretty cool. But anyway, man, I enjoyed it, man. It's always good to catch up with you. I said, don't seem like that long ago we was at the Bassmaster Classic cutting up in Birmingham. So
that's right.
We'll definitely have to catch up again, brother. But said appreciate it coming on and sharing your wealth of knowledge. And hope you have on again. And
I appreciate it.
Good luck on your tournaments. And we'll be seeing you on the flip side. And like I said, thanks for everybody for tuning in and give us a like and share. And definitely appreciate you all. So with that, I'll say good night and peace out.
All right. See y'all later. Thank you.
All right. See you.
Bye.
All right. All right, guys. That was Mr. Jeremy Maye, good friend of mine, and said, man, I mean, that guy got a wealth of knowledge, and said we appreciate him coming home. I said, John couldn't make it tonight, but hopefully he'll be on tomorrow night. And I said, I'm going to try to figure out how to sign us off here. But anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all. I said, I hope everybody's safe down in Texas. I know the hurricane messed you up a little bit. I know there's a couple of factories that's lost power and phone and internet. And I said, hope y'all doing all right. Didn't get too much damage. I got some friends down there got a little bit of wind damage and rain damage. So, but anyway, well, guys, catch up with us tomorrow night. And as Ozzy Osbourne would say, we love you all and have a good night. Peace.